This video is part of our series of Premiere Pro basic tutorials, and this one is about some really basic edits and how to assemble your clips on your timeline. Now, most people when they start off using Premiere Pro do what I've done here, which is to grab their entire clip and put it straight into the timeline. Now, I'm trying to make a trailer, so I've got the whole 2 hours, we can see here 1 hour 59 minutes, the whole 2 hours of Jurassic Park, which makes it really difficult and time consuming to edit that entire thing if all I want is a 1 minute trailer. So I'm just going to click on this clip and hit backspace to get rid of it. And you can see how it was previewed up here in our program monitor. Anything that we play out of our timeline appears in our program monitor. But if we head over to our project bin and double click on the original clip, we can see that it's previewed up here in our source monitor. Now, what I can do in this source monitor is drag back and forth the little playhead here to actually find the specific shots, specific moments in this film that I want to drag down and use in my sequence. So I'm just going to move this playhead slightly, and I think I'll take this clip from when they're watching the egg hatch. So if I want to start recording or start assembling my timeline using this clip from this point, I can come down here and mark an in point. The shortcut to do it is just hit the I key. And you can see how it's actually created this grayed out space that says, all right, we're no longer going to drag everything from here up to where you've said the in point is. We'll just get everything afterwards. If I hit spacebar to actually play this clip,
before I had to go to the boat. Henry, why didn't you tell me? I insist on being here when they're born.
Alright, and that's the clip that I want. So to mark an out point, you can either click on this button here or just hit O on your keyboard as the shortcut. So now I've just got this little tiny slither of just that short clip instead of the whole 2 hour movie. So I'll drag this down and place it on my timeline, and it's actually really hard to see it. The reason why is because I have this timeline zoomed right out from where I had the whole thing there. So to zoom in, I've just moved the playhead around about where my clip is, and if I just hit the plus button on my keyboard, I can actually see that clip a bit larger. And so if I hit spacebar here, it's the exact same clip that I was watching before, but now we're watching it out of our timeline up here in our program monitor, as opposed to watching it from our project bin in the source monitor. Now, obviously from this point, it's at the 3-minute 44-second mark. I actually want to click this and drag it right back to the start of my timeline. And so if I just drag and hover it right at the start, we can see that we're moving very slowly towards the start of the timeline. If I actually hit the minus key, then we zoom out again and it's a lot easier to get it back to the start. Hover my playhead, over where my clip is, hit plus again, and we zoom in again. So I'm going to do this a couple of times. I'm going to grab a couple of clips from different parts, perhaps when they're actually with the dinosaur. Here, I to mark the in point, play. And now the really good thing is I can actually keep hitting O while it's playing to select new out points. Right, so that's probably enough. Click that, drag it down, add it to my timeline. And now I'll move across to something a little bit more dangerous, perhaps. Here, the running of the dinosaurs is pretty good. So again, I'll hit play, and I... Alright, no, I don't want him talking. I don't want the boy. Alright, from there, I probably want it, so I hit I now. And they're running. And that's about enough, so I'll hit O to mark the output. Now, when I'm dragging this down, you can actually see I can put it onto multiple channels, which is handy if I want to actually have this clip run just above my other ones. But the other interesting thing is, as we are dragging it towards another clip, you'll see it actually, when I get close, it snaps and locks in behind that clip. The reason why that's really good is because it means there'll be no black space after our or in between our clips. So I've got these 3 clips here. Now there's a couple of additional things that we might want to do. I noticed before, if I hit play down here, I noticed that I got a little bit of this next shot when I don't really want it. So what I can do down in my timeline, or even in my source monitor, is by hitting left and right, I do what's called scrubbing. And every time I hit the left and right key, I can move by just 1 frame. So this allows me to fine tune some of those edits. So I don't want the next shot. All right, I just want from here. So I'm going to actually cut the rest of that out. Now I'll just zoom in a little bit by hitting plus so that I can get a better look at this. And if I actually hover my cursor towards the end of this clip, you can see the cursor changes. It goes from the regular arrow to this red, looks like a closed bracket with an arrow pointing. If I click on this now and drag it back towards my blue line, which is the playhead, again, it snaps to that playhead, and if I let go, then I've just trimmed the end of that clip. So that's a really quick way to get your clips assembled together. I can do the same if I want to add more to it. So from this next shot, perhaps if I hover over, I get the opposite side of that red bracket with the arrow pointing in now. Click, drag it, and it snaps there. So I've actually added a little bit more to that clip. I'm just going to hit minus to zoom out. So scrubbing is really important if we want to make some of those finer adjustments. The other thing that you can do with your arrow keys is by hitting up, it actually lets me skip to each edit. Okay, down goes towards the end of my sequence, and by hitting the up key, I can go to the start of the sequence. So again, that's a really good way of doing some fast navigating around your timeline. The last thing that I'm going to show you is what happens if I've got this clip and I actually want to make an edit halfway through it. So they appear at the Triceratops, and you can see here there is an edit naturally in the film. So I might want to make a little cut there so I can end up using 2 shots from this. To do that, I can go over to my toolbar here and select this icon, which is the razor tool. It looks like a little old school razor. And if we select that, I can hover anywhere and you see a line has formed. That means I can make a cut anywhere that I like. Once again, because I've used my playhead to select a specific point, if I drag the razor tool close to that playhead, it snaps to it and lets me cut exactly on it. So I just click and I've made a little edit. And now I can go back to my selection tool, and I can pick this clip up and move it wherever I want. So I've effectively made a little edit by using that razor tool, and I've split my clip in half, and I've been able to move another clip in between them. Something else that we can do is, if I'm using that razor tool quite often, which I probably will be, the shortcut for it is just hitting the C key on your keyboard, C for cut. And then we can make a little edit there. And then if I want to go back to my selection tool, because if I try to click any of these clips, I'm just making more cuts. So I need to go back to my selection tool, which is just the key next to C for cut, which is V for a very useful tool. And now I can select and move my clips about, change the order that this is presented in, and assemble my clips together. So there's some very, very basic uses of cutting and assembling your clips together. Subsequent videos in this series will go into a little bit more of the complicated tasks, but hopefully that's enough to get you started with working in Premiere Pro. Thanks for watching.